order. Councilman Woods, would you give us the invocation, please?
Our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, is once again you allow us to assemble together upon this roof, Lord. Father God, we have come together as a council and citizen of Marlboro County to put our minds and brain together with your blessings to make Marlboro County a better place. Father, we ask you allow us to take the lead and put this county first and foremost. Take ourselves out the way and put the citizens of Marlboro County first. Father, we ask this in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. All right, moving to the approval of agenda items.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make, if it's possible, to make a change on the agenda. If we look at item number 11, recognition of council members, could we move that right after, just let that be number 9, and before the executive session, and then after we do our recognition of council, then we go to the executive session.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
But before we do that, I think there's might be mistaken there because 8 has reports.
Right. 2 8s.
There's 2
Yeah.
8.
So
okay.
there's a typo that 8,
So
Just change 10 and 11.
right.
10
Yeah.
and 11.
So that would be your motion to
Yeah,
change
that's
10
the
and
motion,
11.
10 and 11, flip flop.
yeah,
Second.
And then, of course, we'll correct that typo.
correct. Okay.
See that, Susan? The 2 8s, it just needs to be 8 9. All right, all in favor of changing the agenda as stated? That's unanimous. All right, moving along to the presentations. Mr. Administrator, I'll let you make the introductions.
So we have the mayor of Clio, Mr. Pate. He's here to make a presentation on some projects that they're looking at getting completed. And I want to say we all look forward to hearing from that.
Well, good evening, everybody.
All right.
I appreciate you allowing me the time to speak this evening and to give our ideas on the Town of Clio Playground Project and different things. It's been a pleasure to meet Mr. Fiber and Mr. Campbell over the past couple of months. And I appreciate you coming to our council meeting along with a few other of our council members here, just to introduce yourself and to get to know some of our town citizens and things like that. But 2023 has been a year that we've tried to change the direction of the way Clio is going. We, as an administration, have just did things out of the box a little differently than things have been done in the past to make Clio a better place to live. One of the things, obviously, that has been going on here recently is you guys have set aside $75,000 out of the recreational grant for the town of Clio and other municipalities in the area. My proposal is here tonight just to ask you guys to consider us to be able to use that for a playground project that we're going to put in the center of town, located adjacent to our post office, which is to the right-hand side of it. It's also near a new municipal building. The total vision of that really is to have the municipal building, our playground, and then maybe a building there at the end, kind of like, it's an old dilapidated building now, but we want to maybe gut that out, put some park benches, some string lights, and just have an area in the center of town for people to come together, have some birthday parties, and just build a sense of unity in our town. Break any barriers that we may have. Just a situation that brings just recreation. We don't have anything in the center of Clio that allows for that. So we want to be able to do that, and we want to be able to do it soon for our youth. Our youth are the future of our town. We've got to be able to invest into them first and foremost. Also our elderly, that's a very important thing to do. So you guys, I think you guys have my proposal in your package there. Obviously, I've laid a lot of things out there, that's a lot to digest. I'm not here to talk about all of it at the same time. But we want to have something there that is substantial, a state-of-the-art playground that we want to build from the ground up and to be able to have our youth a place to play. And also for our adults, the parents, to be able to meet each other, to greet each other, to get out and socialize, and to just be able to just build that sense of community. COVID took a lot of that away from us, and that's a big thing that we've been trying for this year. The Ribs and Rod Festival, Clyde Cotton Festival was a tremendous success this past weekend. The crowd was amazing. The weather was beautiful. We had a very successful day there. And our Taste of Society that's coming up, we sold 160 tickets. That is a tremendous success for what we're doing there. So all of this is to make Clive a better place. I appreciate your time and your consideration to allow us to do that.
Are there any questions?
I got one comment. I know with the town of Clio under the mayor's leadership, with the food trucks be coming in once a month, and adjacent from food truck would be the playground equipment, correct?
Correct.
And that would be a good spin-off when people is at the food truck, where the kids can enjoy themselves while we senior citizens can sit back and enjoy a good burger and watch our children and grandchildren play. The location is ideal location, and that's it downtown. It's out the way. It's off 9, so kids don't have to run into the street. So with the safety precaution, you got to lay it out. I think it would be a great asset for the town.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you for that presentation.
Mr. Chairman, point of privilege, I want to take this opportunity to welcome, she was with us last month, but we did not say anything, but I would like to welcome Ms. Sharice Hodge with Marlboro Hair Advocate. She's been covering our news, and I do appreciate that, and we do appreciate you. So forgive us for not taking the opportunity to welcome you last month, but for this privileged time, I want to thank you for the coverage.
Thank you very much for being here. Thank you. All right, moving along to the approval of minutes. We have the August 8th meeting that has been issued with the corrections. Is that right, Susan?
Yes, sir.
I say, do we have any approval?
So move.
Okay. All in favor? That's unanimous. I'm moving to the September 6th called meeting. We have a motion to accept, to approve.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
I abstain. I was absent.
All right. You got the abstention?
Yes, sir.
All right. September 12th, the regular meeting. Do we have an approval?
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor? All right, that's unanimous. All right, September 26th, called meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor? All right, unanimous.
Mr. Chairman, point of order. September 6th call meeting, was that the planning meeting?
No.
26.
That was 26.
The planning meeting wasn't on there.
No, that was
26.
September, was it?
26.
26 was the
That was
planning.
late September. That was late
26.
September. Yeah.
Workshop.
I was absent on that.
Want to move along to old business. We have the sheriff's request for additional salary for officers. Mr. Administrator? you have it?
Sheriff, you come to the front. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Council.
Hey, you are, Sheriff?
Wow. Yes. On the last council meeting, I requested that the council consider an increase in some form to help the officers' salary. Obviously, we're competing in our area for salary, we're probably one of the most paid officers in the PD. Some probably $6,000 less than most other places. And I think when we read, I was of the impression that council was going to instruct finances to see if they could find some funding somewhere in the budget. And I'm just here to see where that is, where we are in the process.
Was there anything that had not been taken advantage of?
We reviewed our expenditures. I didn't see any scenario where we could actually reduce expenditures further to provide for additional salary, at least at this point.
And as things go on, we can continue to revisit this and see if there's anything that would break loose. I know that we had a tight budget this year with the loss of Mohawk and some of our revenue come in.
Yes, sir. I understand that, but at the same time, so every time that we can't compete with somebody else, it ends up being overtime that we're going to have to pay. We have to run somebody back through the academy again. That's still more money that you're going to have to find. So I'm looking at it, we do it up front and we don't have to do it later. And it costs less now than it would later. If I have to replace an officer, I've lost X amount of dollars that now have to come in and start all over again. Especially if they go to some other place that's going to pay more money. So we lost all the time, all the effort, and all the money that we put into that person. They leave, then we start all over again. Then another one may leave. And where would you find the money then?
Sheriff, we do understand the urgency of this, and we do want to come up with something, but we've got to stick with that budget, and we cannot.
I hear everything you're saying, and I believe you. But I believe, and maybe I'm wrong, I'm not in the budget, let me say that, I don't do finances. But I do believe there may be some contingency funds somewhere. If our budget is that strict and that tight, and there's no contingency funds, what happens if there's an emergency comes up? Where do you get it from then? Because I feel like, to me, this is an emergency.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, this past year, it was staff recommendation to start with a 7 meal tax increase. Then we looked down to a 5 meal tax increase. Council wanted to come to a 2.5 tax meal increase. So it is a tight budget. And, and if there is an emergency, I don't know where we would get it. I mean, I don't know where we would get it. As early on as it is in the budget process, it is hard. And, once you start a precedent of, with one, then there's gonna be more, and there's gonna be more. Then who else is gonna stop? Wanting more. I understand. Policing and sheriff is a hard job, hard people to recruit, hard people to keep. But our budget is tight, and it's only in the almost the first quarter after the reading. So it's hard for. I would think for even speaking with the administrator early and it's hard to find out where you're at, to know what you could go, what you would have left over at the end of the year. I mean, so we have to pull a whole lot out of reserve just to get to zero next year. I mean, so we don't know at this time.
Let me ask you, wasn't there something, a certain amount of money that you received from?
Yes, sir. To date, we received roughly $1.4 million that we've been able to find. But that money can't be supplanted in any way to pay for salaries. So we've taken $1.7 million this year to help overcome some of the financial burdens that the county would have by us doing what we're doing. So we come up with $1.4 million. I'm asking for $4 million.
Mr. Chairman, to touch on what Jason said too, I think the public and everybody in this room need to realize that the impact that Mohawk had on our budget. Mohawk was some $567,000 in tax money. In millage, it comes out to 8.5 meals that went out the door when Mohawk left Marlboro County. You know, in the beginning, when we were talking about doing a tax increase, we were trying to hold our own, and the proposed early was 5 mills, just to try and stay pretty close, because we can only go up so much in the millage each year under state law. But as it turned out, we compromised, we went down to 2.5 mills. That put us in even a deeper hole. But, I mean, it's not rocket science, you know. We lost 8.5 mills when Mohawk left Marlboro County, and we basically only went up 2.5 mills, so we still are in the hole on that. I know every department made a lot of cuts and stuff. The sheriff's department's made cuts and stuff, but this budget is probably as tight as it's been since I've been on here, and I know Jason and Anthony's been on here a long time, and I would think that both of those would acknowledge that we never been in this position, and plus we never had lost an industry that took $567,000 with them and left the county. I just wanted to add that.
I think we also should recognize that for the last several years, because the sheriff department was deficit in officers, a lot of that money went back into the reserves. So for a long time, the sheriff department budget was put back into the general fund because there was a lot of officers that were not filled. So we don't want to go back to that scenario where we're losing, you know, deputies, and we're almost in a scenario where something tragic happens. We just see what happened over in Darlington County today. You know, it's hard being law enforcement. Somebody got killed at a school, I think the adult education, and all officers on deck from the police department and the sheriff department. God forbid something happens in Marlboro County. I was just at a reunification training last week with the school district. And if a tragedy happens in Marlboro County, I promise you, we probably are not prepared fully, you know, if we're not having the right staff and capabilities in our sheriff department. I understand it's a tight budget, but I also understand that for a long time, the sheriff department budget held this county up. You know, I think 26 officers at one point. If you look at the amount, if you're talking about $30,000 per officer and 26 officers for a number of years, not just 1 year, I'm talking about 2 years, 3 years, and that money went back into the general fund, you know, to make it look like we had such a surplus. You know, we in a situation right now that we don't want the sheriff department to be punished now, you know, because of things that was obviously out of our control, you know, but I don't think, in my estimation, $40,000, you know, is going to kill Marlboro County, pun intended. I don't think it will. You know, have there been any other departments asking for increases in their budget?
There have been some.
Some significant increases?
Nothing really significant, but we do have some, and we have some issues we need to clean up with some employees that are part-time that should be full-time because they're working the hours, and that's some things we need to clean up as well as far as that.
Is any other department bringing in the amount of revenue that the sheriff department is bringing in?
No, not that I know of, no.
So if the sheriff department is doing their due diligence in reducing, you know, costs that probably should be a county cost, you know, I'm of the persuasion that if there's something that we can do, you know, to offset losing officers where we have to start, you know, all the way back over again. From my understanding, the SRO officer that's up under the sheriff department, that's not county money. So we have what? How many SRO officers do we have in our school?
We have 5.
That's not coming out of the county budget.
No, sir. And if I would be allowed, I wasn't going to say this, but since you opened the door, I will. Right after I started, we had 32 officers working. I requested 2 more, and you graciously gave it to me, which gave me 34 officers that the county agreed to pay salaries for. 34 that the county agreed to pay for. Out of that 34 officers in the past year, the state has assumed payment of 3 of those officers as SROs. So that's 3 officers that now the state is paying for that, the county is no longer paying for. So that's 3 salaries right there that we're having.
Well, I do know that the budget of the sheriff's department, we have increased probably more so than any other department over the past couple of years.
Yes, sir, I don't disagree with that.
And, I mean, we're certainly trying our best, but we've got to.
But again, I was gonna bring that up. That's 3 salaries that went somewhere, because the state now is paying for those 3 salaries. Something.
Sheriff, while we bringing up, stuff in the past, back in March, we gave you, authorization to buy some laptops.
Yes, sir.
What, with 15, 25? Which one? I can't remember the exact number. 20? Are their laptop working now, or are they in the closet?
They're not functional. We do have them. We've had them since about March.
They're not functioning? What you mean? I'm lost there when you say not functioning.
They're not there. They have not been, they're still in a box.
And why is that, sir?
I can't answer that.
It's not a waste of taxpayers' money to have to purchase.
Go ahead. Wait a minute. We got the answer here. Go ahead, Mr. IT.
We bought, they asked for the additional 20 laptops, which was supposed to be for the officers, and we were gonna have, docking stations within the station for them to be able to come in and out and do it as they needed to. Well, the problem rose that when we decided to attempt to do the software that connects outside to inside, our server that's currently over at the sheriff's department was too old for us to be able to do that software. So in the middle, it kind of had to be stuck on the back burner until the data center's finished, which should be done within 60 days.
So
The server was too old to communicate and do what it needed to do to talk to the laptops.
Okay. So from March to October, the laptop been collecting dust. By the time they get up, they're gonna be obsolete.
No, they are on a 4-year plan, so.
Okay.
But I mean, unfortunately, in that situation as it has been, I work with ancient equipment on a daily basis that I'm trying to get renewed, and it just takes time.
I mean, we know we've done a lot for the sheriff department, but we also know that the sheriff department for a long time was really outdated in policies and operational equipment and all of those things. And we all want to be safe. God forbid something happens and one of us need that one officer, and because that one officer is non-existent, then there's a lag time in response time. You know, we want to maintain, you know, a budget, but at the same time, we also want to make sure that our citizens, you know, are safe, you know, as well. I'm not saying that we can do it, but I'm saying that if we can do it, I think it's the best investment, you know, that we can make is in ensuring that our you know, county is safe and have the staffing capabilities to be able to, because if I'm hearing the sheriff correct, if not, then, you know, we're gonna be paying that money in overtime. So if that overtime money is gonna be paid and we paying somebody at time and a half, you know, to do something that somebody with a regular 40-hour work week can do, then we actually shooting ourselves in the foot, pun intended.
Have you done a cost analysis on how much overtime you're gonna be paying?
Starting next week, I'm gonna be without a 3rd shift person, and to fill those positions, it's gonna be at least 1 or 2 people working overtime just about every night for the next month or 2, just to cover, because again, it goes back to those SROs, where we took 5 people off the road to be SROs, so that's 5 people we short, where we were running 3 or 4, now we're back to 3 per shift.
If you can give me how much that's gonna be,
I'll get that too.
get that, how much that's gonna be exactly?
Yes.
You know, and that'll be helpful to everyone to kind of see where we are as far as what we're losing.
Yeah.
That's the starting point right now, what we're gonna lose.
Wes, do you know right off what that would come up to?
You just,
I really haven't done that analysis of what
It is going to be very costly for us. I got a sergeant police tomorrow for a knee replacement, so he's going to be out for a while to replace him. And with the amount of people that now we have in the school district, I'm sure.
so in the past, we've had a standing agreement with the school district for every SRO that they did, it was an in and out. They took care of everything.
Yes, sir.
And so
We don't, we do not purchase one thing from.
Correct. So it was the money from the school district
Yes, sir.
that paid for the SRO officers, their full salary, cars, uniform.
There's two forms of income. The school district pays for 2. The state pays for 3.
So the 3 that was, if there was an open spot for them in the roster, and 3 went out, how many spots do you have on the same roster?
I'm not sure I follow you. That would
So,
be 3.
so if there was 20, if you had 23 and 3 of them went to SRO officers, so you had 3. So did you have 3 vacancies, or did you, or, I mean, I guess.
They've always been counted still as a slot. They were never taken off, and they should have been taken off, but they were not taken off. If that makes,
Yeah.
That's what I hope I'm answering you.
Yeah, that's what we, you know, as far as, you know, the scale of who, you know, I mean, I don't know that part, it'd be HR and an administrator, and, you know, I don't get in that, so we
moved them to SROs, but we did not refill those slots. If you understand what I'm saying.
correct.
So, and it's not a fear, it would be a good thing for us. Let's say the district came back and said they wanted us to take over the entire district. That probably won't happen, but let's say if they did, that would be 4 more officers that would be leaving, going to the school district. So that would be 4 more people. I would see a look on your face, I have that same concern. That would be 4 more people I would be losing. And when they're off, they work strictly 12 months out of the year for the school district, and they pay for it. They're contracted through the school district for us, for the school district, through us. So for everyone that goes to the school district, that's one person I lost, pretty much.
But does that money remain in the budget for that person?
Yeah, the revenue from the school district is in the budget, as well as the revenue from the state and the expenditure associated with that.
Well, what I'm asking is, once they lose an officer
Right.
to the school district, the school pays for that. Shouldn't we still have openings where he can hire people? That money should still not come out of his budget in any way, should it?
Well, we budgeted, I believe, 34 slots, and whatever dollar amount associated with those officers is reflected in the budget.
But if we budgeted for 34 slots and 4 of those slots is not county money, what happens to that other budgeted money?
The 4, like for example, we budgeted for 4 slots in terms of revenue with the school district.
So we
didn't
budget.
necessarily even know for certain whether or not that, how that allocation was going to work. The state, we also budgeted the state revenues as well, but we budgeted the expenditures too.
So out of our revenue, we budgeted for 30 slots. Out of the state
Right.
and school district, we budgeted 4 slots. So we don't have 34 slots budgeted for the sheriff department from our revenue.
Coming strictly from the county revenue.
Is that what you're saying?
County revenue. Of course, we include in the general fund the proceeds from the school district.
I don't know.
So what it is, if it's 30 or 34, it's still gonna be, the revenue in and expenses out is the same, wherever the revenue comes from. So the question, I think, trying to clear up is if there was 30 and there was 34, did we leave the spots open, or did those 4 just go as far as SRO? I think that's something we can, public safety, that'd be something the public safety could look into and meet and come back with a recommendation to a full body. I mean, that would be something that the public safety could.
I would just like the administrator and the finance director to just keep looking, and
Yes.
we might not be able to do 40. We might, can come up with 18 or 20. I don't know, but I'd like to just keep looking and see what we can do, and I know you will. I know you will, and let's just do the best we can, and I know that you will, and I think both of you will do that. So.
And if we could schedule a public safety.
Yeah, I think that we can get some of these questions answered in the public safety. Right. Yeah, if we could do that. That would be the way, the correct procedure.
Do it as a work committee meeting.
All you have to do is give me what time and where, and I'll be there.
Mr. Administrator, can you try to get us something set up on that?
We'll meet after tonight, we'll meet and get something set up a date. And I'll let everyone know.
I do have one more, and Wes and I have talked about this. One of the things that we do, obviously, as a sheriff's office, we serve papers, silver papers. And some of those silver papers we serve for the Department of Social Services called 4D funds. And those funds are strictly, we serve those papers, and in return, they pay us X amount of dollars. I think it's like $25, we all give or take about 9 cents to that night.
Yeah, about $6,000 in revenue.
Those funds, based on statute, are supposed to be placed into an account by the treasurer's office and allocated to use by the sheriff's department, by the sheriff's office, by state statute. That money has been in the past, been brought in, but has been placed into the general funds account, which is a violation. And we could lose, I believe somewhere it says, we could lose funding and our ability to serve if that money is not placed where it's supposed to be. And I understand maybe it's never been brought up before, no one's ever said it before, so you may not even be aware of it, but I talked with Wes about that, and that's
I
something.
just became aware of it when you told me.
Yeah, I mean, and those are things that sometimes get us in trouble. It's not that you're intentionally doing anything, if you're doing something that you don't know. And I think once we do know, we have a duty and an obligation to make you aware of it so we can make it right. And obviously, we can't retroactively go back and see how far it's being done, but I think now is a good time we can start putting those funds, changing the account, putting it into the sheriff's office account for civil service. So that money then goes to us, and that's money that we can use for salaries, if we get up for salaries and stuff. That's some of the things that we could be doing if we were making the right choice.
I think to Mr. Blackman's point, you know, when you have situations like this, it's up to us to really, you know, comb through the budget, comb through everything, and you found something. And so, you know, we'll keep looking and to see if there are other things like that, because that money is obviously owed to the sheriff department. And again, we don't know how long it's been. And so I heard your question earlier about how many other departments are asking money. All of them are asking for increases, and you know, some of them are here tonight. And I know that if we just give the money, it's going to be a landslide. However, I think we may have a situation where we kind of owe the sheriff department some money, especially with that one. And we may have some other instances where we actually owe some things that we have taken out, or things that we, you know, haven't paid in the past. So this may be a little different, but it's up to us to really look and try to find out exactly where that may lie. And we're not going to take forever to do it, Sheriff. We're going to make sure that, you know, we meet tomorrow, and then we'll meet with you at a time we designate tonight later on.
And so how does that say, I'm trying, we just started the process today to start looking for more funding again for next year. And hopefully I can double what we've done this year. That's my intent. The more money we can find, the more grants we can find, the more things that we can do, the less I'll stand up here and ask you for something. Because we will never be self-sustaining.
Well, we typically haven't gotten many grants in the county for a lot of different things, but that's going to be changing. We're working on that right now, and I think, and I was going to mention to council, I might as well say it now, you know, in November or December, I will be giving you a sheet of all the different grants that we're going to be applying for over the year, with the dates, with the dates that they're due, and you'll be able to keep track of what we're actually looking for. And I can tell you now, it's going to be a huge amount of them, because there's no reason for the county I think we may be one of the lowest revenue counties in the state. It's one or two. We're one or two lowest in the state. There's no reason for us not to be getting grants on a regular basis all the time. And so that's something we're going to really work on rectifying, but it won't take place until next budget year. And I think we all understand that. So, Mr. Chair, we're going to be working on that, but we're also going to be working on trying to get this rectified, at least partially, you know, for the next couple of months.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your help. How you doing?
Thank you, Sheriff. All right, moving along to new business. Adoption of Section 504 ADA Compliance Plan, including its self-evaluation transition plan and all its contents. Mr. Administrator, or Ms. Sumter?
Good evening. The Department of Commerce has mandated that all counties update their 504 American with Disabilities Plan. What Marlboro County did, we completed a self-evaluation by a team of employees that consisted of persons who have disabilities, departments that come in contact with persons who have disabilities, and departments that deal with the maintenance of our facilities. The self-evaluation was presented to the PD Council of Governments to assist with development of a compliance plan. In your package, you see that you have a compliance plan, which it is there to just be an example, because we cannot still, there are going to be issues with continuing disabilities, whether we fund our buildings or whether we make enhancements, but we're still going to run into some form of an issue at some period of time. What we're asking you to do is to review our plan, to approve the plan that we have, the compliance plan along with the sample public meeting notice, the guidelines for our public meeting notice, and a sample grievance procedure. This was done to present to us from the PD Council of Governments, and they've assisted with all of the counties with their plans. What I've been told that some of the plans have been updated since like 1995, 2000, 2015. Our plan last was updated in 2009. So I believe that this is the best plan for us, and it will be in line with what all the other counties are doing. And I ask that you approve the plan, the compliance plan, along with all of the other procedure guidelines and public notices.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the adoption of Section 504 ADA Compliance Plan that the county has submitted.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Ms. Lawson, did you?
I did.
Okay. Did you stay? Okay. We have 7-4, one abstention. So motion moves. Moving along to Resolution 102301, a resolution to support the armed forces of the United States by supporting Operation Greenlight for veterans.
Operation Greenlight is in its second year. Councilwoman Lawson brought this to our attention after reading a NACO article. Now, once we are recognizing that American counties have a long and proud history of serving the nation's veterans, and that's a legacy that we should be proud of. And it continues today that we work with our federal and state local partners to ensure that former service members have access to the resources that they need to thrive. Now, in recognition and celebration, we want them to be seen, appreciated, and supported. So by shining a green light, our government, our county government, along with our residents, will honor our veterans and let them know that we appreciate them. To show support, we're asking the county council pass a resolution declaring the county's participation with the Operation Greenlight. The passage of the resolution, the county would intend to light the courthouse, administration building, the Veterans Office, along with asking businesses, agencies, and the residents of Marlboro County to participate in Operation Greenlight for veterans. This would be during November the 6th through the 12th. And once again, we ask that you agree to pass the resolution because our veterans have done a lot to enhance the opportunities that we have in Marlboro County and also in our nations. And some of them have given their lives to and lost limbs just for us to have the ability to do the things that we have and the opportunities that we have now.
We have a motion to approve Resolution 102301.
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion we approve Operation Greenlight for the veterans,
Second.
Resolution 10-23-01.
And we have a second. All in favor? That is unanimous.
And we do have flyers that I'm going to, pass around for you to share with your family members and the community.
Okay, Mr. Administrator, we're moving to the purchase of a golf course equipment.
So I wanted to bring your attention to something we discussed a little earlier in our planning session and talk about the golf equipment that we had, that we were releasing for over $1,000 a month, but that we wanted to go ahead and purchase that equipment and get it out of the lease. And we don't know how much longer it's going to be before we get our equipment. And we're also using that equipment right now for roads and bridges and parks. We're using it everywhere. And so once we get our equipment at the golf course, then that will be serving at Parks and Recreation only, or it's back up for that golf equipment. So, and again, that money will come out of the budget that we already have for the improvement of the golf course. So it's not like we're allotting any more money. That's coming out of that money. And Mr. Deuce couldn't be here today, but he asked that we consider that, and I do agree with him. And I think I've spoken with several members, and I think we agree that we need to go ahead and purchase that to eliminate some of our costs.
Mr. Chairman, through the workshop, we went in deep detail about this opportunity. I make a motion that we go ahead and purchase golf course equipment so we can move forward.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? That is unanimous. Motion carries.
All right.
And moving along to ordinance number 818A, a ordinance to amend ordinance 818 to outline conditions for renewable energy systems and to establish the effective date of this ordinance. First reading, title only.
So,
Mr. Administrator?
so this ordinance 818 is about solar farms and renewable energy. And what this ordinance is about, before we had Marlboro County where some of these different companies could put solar farms kind of anywhere. And due to a lot of hard work, especially from spearheaded some of the department of Ms. Lawson here, we did adopt 818. It was in response to some of the work that was done to spearhead citizen concerns where they would have at least 100 to 300 feet of buffer zones. They're not within 400 feet of any residences and that kind of thing. So that is actually one of the strongest in the state. And our 818 is one that other counties use as a model for their renewable energy plan. The only thing in there that other counties don't use is the limitation of 75 megawatts. And we're asking, for the sake of some future business, that we do limit it to 75 megawatt, as other counties have done as well, but keep everything else in there. And I think we discussed this already as well, that it wouldn't change anything for anyone, any of the citizens here. It would be a situation where we would have, if we had any future solar farms, no one would know what's in there, because again, they're more than 400 feet away from anything residential and with buffer and vegetative buffer. Going to have trees and everything, so I think it's a good ordinance as it is. We just need to look at the 75 megawatt. And so this first reading is title only. We will have, everything else at a later date.
Mr. Chairman, for the purpose of future growth, I make a motion that we adopt ordinance 818, first reading title with the stipulation that we remove the 75 watt stipulation.
Second.
All right, all in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. Okay, moving to the approval of $75,000 for Town of Clio Playground proposal as their portion of the image campaign.
Mr. Chairman, I guess, I know the administrator got some more things he needs to say with it, but you go ahead.
I don't have anything to add, just that I think we've heard the presentation from the mayor here, and I think, from my opinion on it, I think we need to go ahead. We've already stipulated that money goes there, and I think I can't find a better use for the money than to have something for kids and adults that they can do, something safe, something fun, and something that the citizens themselves of Clio actually want. we gotta listen to them. As we've always said, listen to those towns and what they want, and they want this. And so I think it's a good recommendation.
Mr. Administrator, as you know, that I've been a strong advocate of releasing that money to the municipalities to be able to improve their towns. So by way of motion, I make a motion that we approve the allocation of the $75,000 to the town of Clio.
That motion was seconded by me.
Okay, all in favor? That is unanimous. Motion carries. All right, moving to the budget amendment for Sheriff Department in the amount of $500,000 received from the Department of Public Safety.
Mr. Chairman, council members, you have before you a budget amendment for the $500,000 that was awarded to Marlboro County Sheriff's Department by the legislative delegation through the South Carolina Department of Public Safety. This amount, this allocation was not known at the time of the budget, so of course we're requesting to approve the amendment. I know there is an additional $50,000, but this particular budget is from that you have before you is for the $500,000, and it covers vehicles as well as protective equipment and other equipment for sheriff and the detention center.
So to clarify, how much of that can be used for salaries?
None.
Okay.
None of the funding here can only be used for capital improvements. Anyway, I don't know if there's any questions about that. I'm sure the sheriff people have entertained any questions that you might have, but I've attached the communication from major sellers as well as the communication from the Department of Public Safety. And you have an exhibit there for the actual specific expenditures associated with
Mr. Park, I'm looking at the budget.
Yes.
So that will be added into the detention center and the sheriff department?
It'll be added, it's other
Split.
special revenue. And so, for example, the vehicle that is associated with the transport vehicle is connected with the detention center. The amount that was allocated was $50,000. Appears as if may be able to find an alternative that would be less costly than that.
The amount allocated in the budget is not $50,000 in this.
Excuse me?
Are you telling me that we allocated $50,000 in our budget for that, or you just, okay?
No, $50,000 in this budget.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's going to be an additional monies to
That
this?
is additional, $500,000 total, $50,000 of it associated with the transport detention center.
Okay.
Does it relieve any responsibilities that we've already?
No responsibility on our part, and it doesn't relieve anything that has already been included in the existing budget. So, unfortunately, there's not a way to be able to offset and then.
Right. That's exactly what I was trying to get at.
Mr. Chairman, and we want to thank our legislative delegation, for allocating this amount of money to. I don't think we give them enough credit, for the work that they do behind the scenes. But Representative Hennigan, Senator Malloy, and Senator Hayes, and I think Senator Williams. We thank them for what they're doing, for Marlboro County, and we're going to have the expectation that as we build that relationship, that they would do more and more and more to help improve, the capabilities of Marlboro County. And so, with that being said, I make a motion that we approve this budget amendment in the amount of $500,000.
Second.
All right, all in favor? All right, that is unanimous. And that was well said, Dr. Johnson.
Should we not send a letter to them thanking them for that? That's not appropriate.
I'll be sending a letter.
Thank you.
All right, appointments to boards and commissions. I think everyone's notified exactly what appointments need to be made. Do y'all have any?
I need Mark Daniels to take that off because that position ended up not being open. With the economic development, just forward that for now.
Mr. Chair, I don't have an appointment, but I am really concerned about our boards as far as that workforce board. We have an economic development board, but those other boards that's connected to the workforce board, those are things that it looks like we have taken that out of our hands to make the appointments. And that's where I'm going to say that I'm having some difficulty accepting that. I would rather for us to have the Economic Development Board that we appoint, so we'll know when their meetings are, and have input as far as, never have I seen in my package yet about when they're meeting and what they're discussing. But I would like for us to consider, we hadn't done anything to those ordinances yet. We either get a handle on those ordinances because, as I said, too many of those people have been on there for years and years and years. And I am saying again, we need to look at those ordinances again. I know we workshop out, but one good thing about the workshop, we get a lot of business taken care of in the workshop, so we won't spend all night at a meeting. But I really would like that Economic Development Board and all those boards connected with it, Image Committee and all that, that we revamp those boards or consider looking at some other changes. Because wherein a person can't serve on the Economic Development Board, that person may want to serve on something else, or we may decide to do away with that board. I'm not sure what the council wants to do, but I am concerned about the ordinance on that board.
The administrator and myself, we're working together to get
We're gonna be working on that.
Board.
And just to let you know, yes, we do need, like, we had a planning session for economic development and for improvements. But now we need to have one as far as all of our ordinances. We do need to have something soon, just like we're gonna have something in January for our budget health workshop. So we're gonna have to have these things. I know they're long, I know the council has other things to do, but we're gonna try to accommodate that. We have to have those in order to move forward. So we're looking at doing that.
And actually, we're getting the council appointments
Right.
to
We're gonna
those
get those
boards,
council
and
appointments
then we
to you too as
can,
well.
then we can fill the
Those committees.
additional committees.
Yeah,
And that brings me to this question then about the committees that we are going to, so that's going to be a part of you making that
That's what
appointment
we're
real
getting
soon?
Yes, we're gonna get that
Okay.
done this week. those
Okay,
appointments.
thank you.
Right. See, and
That's
that
probably been
is
one
an
of my-
emergency right now.
My biggest holdup of appointing people, because when they ask me, what do they do, I can't give them an accurate answer. And so I'm not gonna just throw a name and appoint somebody, to a board or commission when I can't even tell them what their responsibilities would be and all of those things. So once we get that process, in more order, then we can really start appointing these people that now have a vested interest instead of just a name, because I needed somebody to throw into that position. And so hopefully these committee meetings will get more information. So when we're putting up names for these boards and commissions, they are people that are invested in those boards and commissions, and will report back to council, so we can be educated on what these things are, and so we can help move our county forward as well.
And I think we're going to be having some good progress on that by Friday.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so
Have some progress on
hopefully-
that. I'm not saying it's gonna all be done, but we'll have some progress on that by
About
Friday.
this. Mr. Chairman, I hope that if we do that, I hope that we require that every committee reports
Thank you.
back to either the
So-
administrator or this board.
Right, so what the thinking is that anytime we have these boards, however often they meet, and depending on how often they need to report to us, like for instance, someone that's in the zoning board, that kind of stuff, they don't need to report to us unless something has happened that we need. But something as far as economic development, it's a constant thing, maybe quarterly, something as far as some of these other boards we have, airport, they don't need to report to us, but maybe yearly. So we just need to figure out, depending on their importance or how much that they do during the year, when they're gonna report. But they're gonna be required to report to us here in council publicly. So everyone gets to know what they're doing and what's going on, so.
but that will be part of the agenda going
Yes.
forward.
And as a matter of fact, that was a request for us from the Workforce Development Board for Carl. We
Yes.
asked her to make sure that our representative report to us, so we'll know
Right.
what's going on.
Right, I'm gonna talk about that too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, I need to be excused. I've got to
Okay.
work.
Thank you, Mr. Odom. Any other questions on boards and commissions? All right. Acceptance of bids, we have none. Moving along to the finance report. Mr. Park.
We have the report for the first 3 months of this fiscal year. Revenues total $2,016,092 in comparison to $1,585,764 for the same 3-month period prior. General fund expenditures through September 30th, 2023 total $3,630,399 of a $14,233,618 budget, or 25.51% of budget year to date. General fund expenditures total $3,506,035 for the same 3-month period ended September 30th, 2022. In conclusion, revenues and expenditures are higher than in prior year. We'll continue to monitor any and report any matters of significance in regards to that. I don't know if you have any questions or
I wanted you to clarify, there is an increase, and it seems like a significant increase, almost a 25% increase. Is that attributed to people paying their taxes sooner, or what is that?
It looks like it's state shared revenue.
Okay.
And I think one of the things we found, just like, we're getting notification, I know we'll come back, next month with another budget amendment, because we're finding that there's been additional funding that has been provided for, different, elements of county government. So anyway, we'll report that back to you, but the state revenues have been very robust. And so, that's one thing I think is positive. State share revenues.
Any questions?
Mr. Parks, we've gotten a handle on the lost revenue for lost receipts? Because I've just been going back and looking at, and there's been a substantial amount of money, that has been almost phantom money, and when I'm looking at, I'm seeing lost receipt. Have we gotten a handle on that process to make sure that nobody is exploiting? Because that's an easy way to exploit, the county. If I know that the county is not looking intently at, the amount of money that's being spent, and if I can just submit a lost receipt, nobody really knows where that money has been spent. Nobody really knows how that money has been. So have we gotten a handle on that process?
Well, we've got accountability through accounts payable. We're not going to reimburse for an item unless we have documentation to support what it is that what's been expended. I know that there are, for example, credit card.
I want to speak on that.
And I think that's one of the things that we're.
Yeah, we have issued in order to those who have the credit cards. If they use something, we have to get that receipt. If not, the card will be revoked. It's that simple. We're going to be getting those receipts back from everyone who uses them.
You told us that last month, because I.
Yeah, and we're doing that.
Okay, because I brought that up.
Yes.
So right now, everyone who's purchasing something, there's a receipt.
I think we're pretty covered on that. I haven't. Do we have many lost receipts?
I have not heard any issue.
Yeah, and I'll get a number if it is anything, it won't be anything close to what we saw before, if anything. But it's I don't know if we can expect it just to stop. But,
Yeah.
We're bringing it way down.
But it was egregious.
Yeah, I know.
The amount of money that I saw.
It was $900, $1,500 and stuff like that.
There was $900 and some
No, we have
dollars,
nothing.
$1,000 and no receipt.
Yeah.
That's not acceptable for me.
Yeah,
I'm
we've
saying.
eliminated those things from the credit card, at least.
Any other questions?
I do, I have a question. I'm looking at thank you for this report, by also giving us what's going on with these projects and everything. I want to just, something stands out to me. Let's look at, how what we spent on, because I'm seeing where we're already trying to fall in a deficit. Let me pull something out real quick. A purchase that we made. We got $10,000 from the state for the mortuary, right?
We
For a mark,
expended that, yes.
But that purchase was $19,000.
Let's see, that was on, let's see. Page, that's on.
The page not numbered, so I can't tell you what
Right,
page.
yeah.
And that will help us to get a number, but it's gonna be, I have mine with a tag on it, so I see mine. That will help if y'all number the pages or put some kind of number in the pages. It's in the thing about general ledger report, and I want to correct, you said September 2022, but I know you meant 23.
See if I can see
It's going to be under, what page to tell you?
It's in the project total, is that correct?
In the budget total that it was $10,000. It's going to be under, what page is it? I like to have page, after you, it's about the fund, 55.
Is it under American Rescue?
Right.
Okay. All
So
right.
at the bottom there, the
Yes.
cooler,
Okay, mortuary compensation. We had 7,500 budgeted, and we spent 6,300 for construction. We had 10,000, that was on the cooler, and it looks like we had some change order associated with that construction, and we ended up spending $19,500.
which makes us a negative
We were
$9,500.
$9,500.
Okay, let's go to, it's about this tractor.
Okay. One of the things that happened with the tractor, because of the fact where you approved the acceptance of that funding from USDA of $50,000, it allowed us, there was a problem with the light tractor that was anticipated to be acquired by Public Works. And when they made that determination, it wouldn't operate the cutting bar appropriately. So they had to upgrade that. So we used the $50,000 from the USDA grant to offset the cost of that. So that's one of the reasons why that particular piece of equipment ended up coming in more than what was budgeted. But one thing is we offset it with the $50,000 that we're receiving from the USDA grant.
So doesn't that leave us with a $32,000 debt on that?
$32,000 is what we initially anticipated, and we ended up spending 74, but we had $50,000 reimbursement for that particular piece of equipment.
Okay.
So in the end, we actually spent a little bit less.
We actually spent less than what we included. One thing we didn't do is we didn't include revenues that offset the cost connected with those.
And one of the reasons not to include those revenues is because sometimes if it comes through a grant, you just don't include them until you know that you're going to get it. And USDA, they're pretty reliable with their grants, but at the same time, you never know what's going to happen. So
You can't just put that in the budget.
It's kind of your chicken before they hatch kind of thing.
So was there a deficit on the construction of the mortuary cooler? Did the county go into a deficit because of that cost?
Well, we utilized, we'll probably need to reallocate some of those funds within that. There were other areas that we
We actually saved some.
actually save some money. So,
Okay.
That's a
And
reality.
if you want, we'll come up with exactly how much we saved in other areas and see what we have to reallocate. We'll get that for you.
But all of that was under the same roof for that.
That's in the
budget.
same,
Yeah, it was all within the American Rescue Plan. The total that, we expended $1,040,359. We had budgeted $1,062,500, so within that.
Okay.
That overall budget. And nothing more is going to get charged to this fund.
Okay.
So that effectively ended the first year of the pandemic. After that was for the fiscal year ending June 30th of 22.
And one more question, just help me understand this. On the last page of the leisure, before you get to the golf and recreation complex, that Broad Street project funds,
All right.
I need you to look at, you got a title sheet. If you can't explain it to me now, can you later on tell me what the purpose of these amounts that these companies or businesses were paid? What amount, what was the purpose of those funds?
Okay, are you talking about on the Broad Street project?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the first payment, the $14,000, that was like a 5% down payment. Then the next amount, $267,370.75, that was paid at closing. The purchase of that property is $280,000. The only other item outside of that was Studio Maine, who created this drawings, this visual, and the conceptual behind that, and that was $6,500. So Studio Maine was the conceptual. We really thought that there was going to be an opportunity to find some grant funding for that. And talking with PRT, they indicated that they were not funding, more or less welcome centers or other type of operations that were similar to that for governmental units.
So that was the money we lost, is that?
Well, it was money that was used to create the image
Right.
in order to, for everyone to actually visually see what was anticipated.
Okay, any other questions?
Thank you, Mr. Park.
Thank you, Wes. Thank you. All right, administrator report.
All right, so, I'm gonna try to make it. Parks, we're working with the Recreation Committee to establish community leagues through commissions. As everyone knows, we did not have a football season this year through Parks and Recreation. We can talk about that. And, but that won't happen again next year. And we're gonna do it through our community leagues, and we're gonna work with commissions in each one of these areas. And that's gonna go through the Parks Committee, Parks and Recreation Committee, and it takes time. It would have been done this year. I got here in July, and it takes time to get these things back together that has been here years. So, but we will have that for next year. Also, the grounds for the new Marlboro County Aquatic Center are currently being tested. And we will have a big announcement one way or another, which location, by next council meeting. And that's really about all I can say about it at this point. The golf center. The banquet hall is getting fixed. The roof is done, and we'll be giving you some estimates for AC work shortly, as well as some other ceiling work that we may do in there. The beer and wine license process is done Thursday, July 20th.
Did you mean October the 20th?
I'm sorry, Thursday, October 20th. It will be done. So in about 2 weeks here, it'll be open, a little less than 2 weeks actually. And we do have some events, and I know some of us have talked about having some events, county sponsored, bring the place out, and we're going to be doing a lot of activities in that ballroom. So just kind of be on the lookout for that. But we have to get everything squared away, and it looks to be real soon now. Irrigation, that's a contractual issue we'll be talking about a little bit later. Public Works, the roads, and this is to the community here. Please do not block county, state, or any public roads. We are enforcing this. We're enforcing this. We have had people who want to block roads for whatever good reason they come up with. Okay, it doesn't matter if your family owns every acre around it. If it's a public road, you cannot block it legally. And we are going to enforce that. Okay? And that's really all needs to be said. As far as public works with litter, we're just waiting on a mandatory training for our staff to be able to do inmates. Grants have been filled out, and we're just waiting to hear back. Excuse me. Get some water here. We're just waiting on the training, and we have filled out grants for the other litter control initiatives that we have. We're just waiting to come back. Those grants were due middle of October. We've already done it, turned it in, just waiting on it to come back. And once that comes back, we'll be able to go ahead and start our litter control efforts a little bit better.
Can I ask you, what type training will the staff or the people be getting?
So staff has a mandatory training for inmates.
Okay.
To be able to have inmates, and every county has to go through it when they have inmates, and we have to do the same thing. I'm not exactly sure about the training that happens, but it's, how to handle different things about what they're committed to do, conversation, that kind of thing. But it's mandatory training that has to happen for everyone that does the inmate assistance.
Okay. Will that involve the sheriff department then?
Yes, it should. I mean, we work with the sheriff.
They'll actually go through the detention center more than us.
Okay.
Training will be done by officials from corrections, from the
Okay.
detention center.
Okay.
But it is mandatory that whoever supervises them will have to be trained.
Thank you.
So that's, we're just in the process of waiting. Actually, we're waiting on them.
Yeah, we're going
Not
to
the detention center, we're waiting on the state.
Okay.
Permits. Due to some transitioning, there was a load of permits and inspections that we had. Those are now resumed. I want the public to know that we're able to do permitting through inspections and that kind of thing. So we're good now. But just be patient. We've had some backlog, but we're going to go ahead and get that taken care of. But we're through with that now. So I want to talk about PD Cobb. The PD Council of Governments is a body of different representatives from different counties in the PD that help counties identify funds through grants and other initiatives that the counties and cities can take advantage of. And just wanted everyone to know that's what the PD Cobb was. They don't have their money to give us. They identify funds for us to apply for. And it's very important that we take part in that. We meet as a body quarterly. Our next meeting is December. And I do look forward to giving the council and the public, a brief report each quarter after that meeting, so that everyone kind of knows. Now, we do have 3 of our council members here that are also part of that. Dr. Johnson, Ms. Lawson, and Mr. Woods. And all of our members that are here have committed to attending these meetings on a regular basis and learning all that we can about the opportunities available through PD Cobb. And we look forward to working with the PD Cobb as well. So we're starting fresh, and we're going to make sure that we get everything that we need to get, and it gets back to the counties, because that can be a lost opportunity if we don't take advantage of it.
Mr. Clyburn, before you go to your next item, we would like to also add that we need to make sure that we become a part of NACO.
Yes.
The National Association of Counties, because there are counties locally getting funds from those opportunities from NACO that takes care of the software, opioid, pandemic, things like that. We need to be part of that. And I know that the local counties around us are getting those funds.
And I did get something from them, so we're going to be.
And each of us, as a member, we're automatically part of NACO.
Right.
We are. But I put you to sign up, so I would like for you to be a part of it.
I know you got me there.
Yes, sir. So we can get some funding.
Animal control. every animal shelter in the PD is closed or filled up, including here in Marlboro County. In fact, the animals have a highly contagious respiratory illness called kennel cough that prohibits us from allowing people in the shelter right now. So we can't allow people in the shelter. Even our animal control officer, when he has to go in, he has to be sprayed down every time he leaves. So, you know, that, not only is it full, but the dogs are sick, or the animals are sick. So I just want everyone to be aware that we're not just refusing people to put animals there, we just don't have room. And that's all over the PD area. These shelters are just full. And a lot of dogs are sick in these shelters all over. So please be patient with us. We're doing all we can, but really not much we can do with that situation that we have.
Mr. Clyburn, are there any other, grants or, other funding opportunity that we could look for our animal shelter?
So I'm glad you brought that up. You know, we do have people in the community, not just here in Marlboro County, but all over the PD who are advocates of animal safety and animal rights. And I think that's something that we're going to be looking at, writing some letters to some of these different organizations. We don't have any other choice because, it takes a lot of money to build another shelter. And I don't know, and they have requirements as well. You can't just throw up a shed and just put some cages in there. We have some requirements as well, so for that. So it's going to take some time. And as you know, anytime we do grants and stuff, we're talking about it right now. The grant season, we apply in January, we don't get that money until next July. And so, absent anything happening where, we get some kind of relief, I don't know what we're going to be able to do, but we just ask you to be patient as far as that's concerned, but we don't have any other options on that.
And along those lines, and this is not necessarily on your agenda, but I think it's important for our county to invest in a homeless shelter, or at least begin to explore the opportunity, because there's a lot of money, out there, and if you don't know that there's a homeless problem in Marlboro County, and you're not looking, there is a homeless problem in Marlboro County. And I think, as we're looking, towards the animal shelter and different type of other grant opportunities, I really think as a county, we need to take the lead and connect with these organizations that really and truly, house those grants for homelessness, as well, because that's a significant amount of money, that we can get as well.
Well, and not only that, I think a lot of times counties get misled in this area because in the wintertime, we do not see quite as many, because a lot of them go to the beach, because they do have shelters there, but they come back home when it's warmer. And look, people have to do what they have to do to survive, and I understand that. And so I do feel for them, and I do think that that's something that I think we've looked at some different buildings that we could look at as a possibility. But again, it's going to take some time to get that put together. Yeah. I mean, these are problems that we talk about here, problems that have been going on for years and years. They're not going to fix overnight. We just have to, start working on them. But I do think that some of the ideas Ms. Lawson and I had talked about, as far as some shelters on space, might come into play. If not this next year, maybe the year after that. But we just have to kind of work on that.
And I think this committee work that we can do as a council would be very instrumental in those type of opportunities. I work with a lot of the kids from the McKinney Veto, who are homeless, and these kids have issues, but they still have to go to school, they still have to do things, and so, we're not a social service organization, as a council, but at the same time, some of these things do fall up under our purview, and so I think if we take the opportunity to connect with organizations and citizens here who are advocates of those things, we can really get some things done here in Marlboro County on that lens.
And that brings me to the point that conference I attended this past week from the South Carolina Associations of Community Economic Development, and housing is the #1 thing, and there's funding for that. We used to have a CDC here in Marlboro County, and we don't have that. That's why it's important that we try to connect to several things, because people look at homeless as somebody pushing a buggy in a car. That's not what homelessness is. Homeless is anyone who in a house, there's a mother, daughter, and there's 2 or 3 families in a house, and you're the adult in that house and do not own that house or not paying rent there, or the house is not in your name, you're basically homeless. You're homeless. So that's what I'm saying. We have a lot of families, multiple families living together. The mother, the grandparent, mother, and the great-grand, everybody's there together with their children. So that's why we need that.
With what we talked about before. And I don't want to get into the conversation we talked about before as a census and stuff.
Right.
You know, we do have a lot of multiple families living in single-family units. And that's something that, again, with our residential initiative that we've been talking about over the past few weeks, that not only is it going to be market value or professional workforce housing, but it will also be some low-income or obtainable housing that we're going to be looking at as well. So we're going to look at all those different things. But once again, you know, these are problems that should have been looked at years ago, but we're going to start right now, and we're going to go ahead and start looking at it. I want to talk about two more things real quickly. County cleanup, October 30th to November 3rd. Once again, Councilwoman Lawson has worked on that in the past, and she will continue to spearhead that. And you know, you're going to get some information.
Yes, sir.
We're going to get the flyer stuff put out, and we ask everyone, you know, if you're available to take part in that.
It works good when it's a week-long process.
Right, it's a week-long process, not just one day.
And people just
everyone
clean
can't
up.
do it a single day.
Right.
So it's a week-long process, and you know, whatever day you choose, that Monday through that Friday, that'll be great. And we're just going to do some cleanup stuff. Shortly after that is when we're going to start our initiatives with our own litter control. But I think once again, it's important that we have a little pride in place. You know, this is our county, so we need to make sure we keep it as big as we can.
Ms. Clyde, I want to commend Public Works for the cutting.
Me too.
You know, they're doing, because it really makes a difference when some of those areas that hadn't been traditionally cut, you ride through the county and you see those areas being cut. That helps with that cleanup, because if it's all grown up, people can just throw and throw. But I have seen a difference with the cutting, you know, that will help with our cleanup efforts as well.
All right, and last but not least, October is Go Pink for breast cancer awareness. As you see, we all had to think on, except for Mr. Chairman here. I think you consider that pink that you have on there, Mr. Stroman. I don't know what that is. Is that
Salmon.
pink? Salmon.
It was the closest pink in the Stroman house.
Unfortunately, I do not own any pink clothing.
Okay, we got that. We're gonna let you go this time, but
This
I
is
just
the
want to ask.
closest pink in the Stroman household.
So I think October 25th, well, no, October 25th, we're asking all county offices to wear your pink in recognition of October, Go Pink for breast cancer awareness. Any other questions from the council?
Thank you, Mr. Clyburn. All right, moving along to the citizens before council, Ms. Wendy Woods.
Good evening, everyone.
How you doing?
Good evening.
I come to you with the PD Coalition. I see the 25th is Go Pink for breast cancer. I'm with the PD Coalition Against Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault. And I would like to challenge you all to go purple for Domestic Violence Awareness Month in October. And specifically October the 26th, the day after, because some of you are going to walk up to, we have an event on October 26th, and I want some of you to be a part of it, okay? So I want to make that challenge. And sitting here, and I just want to say, I feel so joyful about Clio getting money, and for Clio, y'all, I'm so joyful about the county and the things that are happening, moving and everything. Ooh, feels so great. But just like you're looking at a beautiful scene, you know what I mean, on the beach. The beach is beautiful, sunrise and everything. There's an undercurrent that goes on in our county, okay? An undercurrent that you don't get to see, but I see it. And some of you might see it. And some of you might be victims of it, and it's domestic violence. And I think about, I'm so happy about the playground, I'm so happy about an aquatic center coming. But what about that child whose parents are in a domestic violence situation? You hear what I'm saying? Are they really going to enjoy any of this? The capital improvements and everything. So I just want you all to know, it's up to us as a community. Safer homes, safer communities. It's up to us to listen for it, okay? To be an advocate for it, because all of this beautification, all growth won't mean nothing to anyone who's in a home where domestic violence is an issue. You hear what I'm saying? And I'm happy about these improvements, you all. But seeing people come in and out of our doors who look like all of you, and I just want to make that very known, who look like all of us. You hear what I'm saying? Every walk of life comes through our doors. You hear what I'm saying? And those issues of domestic violence creates trauma. Trauma creates trauma, creates trauma. And I want you all to be aware of that. Do what you can do to help. That's just pointing people in our direction at the PD Coalition. That's just your church or your organization. Whatever you want to do to help support these families. These are families. Okay? It's very important. And I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you to the county. When I think about the partnership that we have with the sheriff's office, where I can make a phone call and Sandy and the sheriff and the different officers are always ready, available for us. When I think about the library, anytime we have an event, it's always support. When I think about the courthouse, so I just want you all to know it's a link, it's a connection, it's a network of people working behind the scenes, working together. And I'd like to thank the county of Marlboro County for always supporting us at the PD Coalition. Thank you for your time. And I do have some information I want to leave at the desk. And remember, October 26th. Well, oh, you're welcome. Thank you for coming to the lemonade stand. We had a nice lemonade stand, and Mr. Clyburn and Dr. Johnson came. And so representation from the county, we just really appreciate that, you all. And again, I just want to say thank you for always supporting the PD Coalition. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Woods. And I don't have pink, but I probably could dig out some Clemson purple to.
I got some purple too. I got a little purple in there.
Okay.
And for those who don't know, the Nice Lemonade Stand is a fundraiser opportunity for the PD Coalition. So if you haven't donated, I think they're still accepting your donations because that's a worthy cause. This is my third year being, with little Naya, and she's out there in the hot sun, and she's, inviting people, and it's amazing just to see her growth in 3 years. She was a little teeny girl, and now she's grown up. But if you haven't donated, something to the domestic PD Coalition, please consider, as an individual, please consider, because their efforts are 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365. You may not know it, but you know somebody right now who is going through domestic violence. They might not show it on their face, but they feel it, and so it affects every single one of us. And so if you haven't donated, please, ma'am, please, sir, please consider donating to the PD Coalition.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, moving to the recognition of council members. We'll start with Councilman Woods.
First of all, we know that the cotton festival was a great success. I'd like to thank the town of Clio and all the hard work, everybody that was involved. We also have upcoming the election in the 7th of November. We got 2 seats in Clio open, and as we encourage everybody throughout Marlboro County to go vote. And this lady here that probably the originator of Thanksgiving dinner. Each year, this young lady back there in the back, Miss Eva McCrae, serves anyone who want to come eat. The Clio open up the building we have, and her and her team provide dinners, and I think over 100 every year. Yeah, I mean, it grows every year. So on that, it'll be on the Saturday before Thanksgiving, correct? And Miss Eva and her team do an excellent job. Like I say, we know when you talk about homeless, so we know a lot of people do not eat. When you're homeless and you try to find food and this and that. But Thanksgiving is the one time of the year you can knock on anybody's door during the week of Thanksgiving, because everybody feels Thanksgiving in their hearts to give. Miss Eva is a big advocate of that, and she feeds tons of people. Everybody chip in to cook and serve and just fellowship. So on that Saturday, please come to the town. Is it not the town hall? What we call that? The community center in Clio. Hope the weather be nice. So far, our Lord and Savior have given us great Saturdays with great days, you know, so everybody come in. I'd like to recognize that not only the mayor, but we are council lady, people here, like, there she go. She up for election this year too, so, you know, she out there campaigning. And Miss Morgan, she campaigning also. So, you know, Clio got a lot of irons in the fire. We got a lot of things going, and with the mayor and his leadership, we look for great things in the town of Clio. And like I said, with the recreation committee, we're gonna meet. I'll get with Mr. Stroman and Dr. Johnson, but we will get our recreation back to where it used to be. Where it used to be, we got a lot of ideas, and a lot of ideas go back to the old school. We are old school people, and we're gonna bring our kids back out of these rooms we're doing this in, and get back into wellness and everything else and recreation. Mr. Lawson.
I want to thank every one of you for coming out to attend the meeting. Every time that we see people in the audience and see the community taking a part of the meetings, and whether you're doing it Facebook or YouTube, thank you so much, because we do need you. I would just like to make a quick announcement about something I'm spearheading as a person in this community who's at the 65 age and older. I want to encourage anyone who would like high-dose vaccination. We're going to have a clinic at the community center tomorrow from 10 till 2, and it's free. And with that, persons will get a $25 gift card. So you can get your high-dose vaccination, or you can get your COVID vaccination. So look forward to having you to come out. Thank you so much.
First of all, thank all of the citizens for coming out. Wonderful to see you again, Mayor. I tell you, you are our boss. Well, I say it all the time. You all are our boss, and you hold us accountable. We want you to hold us accountable. Tell us what you need, what you want from us. Make us do what should be done. The perfect example of your efforts, we have moved on and we have decided not to tear down this building because you heavily got involved. You got signatures, and you've done your due diligence to make us do the right thing. And I appreciate that. And I would like to encourage everybody here to find a candidate, because the city of Bennettsville is having elections as well. There are elections all over the place. But find your candidate and support that candidate. Go out with them, canvass with them, and show support. They may need some financial support. They may need footwork. You don't know exactly what they need, but be civic-minded enough to support your candidate. And that's all. Basically, I'm glad to see that we have movement on the aquatic center. The testing is done on the ground to see if we can move the earth and get that project underway. I'm glad that we've got multiple things going on with the Broad Street thing that I don't want to announce right now, but that's looking promising as well. And thank you, Mr. Clyburn, for overseeing all of these projects that I know has to seem like mountains, because we know that we were behind. We know that we are behind. And to see that you come in and take the horse, by the rams and just drive forward. It's going to be long, it's going to be hard. And to the citizens, it's not going to be pretty all the time. But we're going to get some things done.
I'd just like to thank staff and administrator and the council. Here lately, it seemed like we getting something done. There for a while, it looked like we were just stuck in the mud, so I appreciate your efforts too. I know you're working hard, and we see it. I want you to know that. We appreciate you, and I feel like things are turning around for the better for all of us. And just congratulations on your playground. I had to come out there and take a look at it. But like I said, I just want everybody to know that I appreciate things moving in the right direction.
And all I add is, staff, I appreciate all y'all have done. It shows how much effort you've put into this. And, Wes, the money is tight, and the two of y'all working together, we're able to work through this. We do have a lot of good things going on with the county. I think the next, year is going to be a challenge, but I think we got some good things coming up. Mayor, it's great to see you take it by the reins over there and get some things going on in Clive, and that's exactly what we designated that money for. We wanted to look good when people travel through our county, and that's going to be good. I think when we originally thought of it, we thought that maybe the extent of it would be put some awnings downtown, but you've really pulled the community together over there and got playground going on and some other things happening, so I commend you on that. And with that being said, we need to go into an executive session for contractual and legal matters. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? It's unanimous.
Won't be long. Won't be that long.
You want me on?